Hey guys, welcome to the Las Vegas Natural History Museum. My name is Ellen and I am super excited for today's video because I get to talk all about books. Specifically, I'm going to be recommending books for all age levels, so for each book I'll include Lexile levels and recommended age groups whenever I can. I'm currently standing in our Young Scientist Center because I'm going to be talking about STEM fiction, or books where science plays a major role in the story. The first book I'm going to talk about is Test This Book by Louis Zong. This book is appropriate for our young and early readers, and it is about Professor Bear and Professor Frog, who need your help to learn all they can about books through a series of experiments. So this book does a great job of breaking down the scientific method for young readers. It's all about asking questions, gathering evidence, and making tentative conclusions. So throughout the book, the professors ask the reader to do things like yell at the book or sit on the book just to see what happens. Another thing I really like about this book is the artwork. It's really soft and it's got this like fun pastel look to it. It's super cute. I am a huge fan of the author, Louis Zong. He's an illustrator, animator, and musician, and he posts a lot of fun stuff on his Twitter at EverydayLouis, so definitely check his stuff out. He's done work for places like Cartoon Network, Disney, and I think he's working for Netflix right now on a new show, so he's awesome. Check out his stuff. Check out the book. It's a great way to learn about science with your young readers. Our next book is for middle grade readers. It is See You in the Cosmos by Jack Cheng. This book is about an 11-year-old boy named Alex, and Alex is obsessed with outer space and Carl Sagan. He even named his dog Carl Sagan after his hero. His goal in the book is to build a rocket so he can send his golden iPod out to space. Kind of like how in 1977, NASA sent out the Voyager 1 space probe with the golden record on it that contained images and sounds picked to represent Earth by a committee led by Carl Sagan himself. This book is probably my favorite out of the bunch, so I'm gonna gush about it for a little bit. It's a very sweet, fun, optimistic read. It was the perfect thing to read after a year like 2020. I definitely recommend it for adults and kids alike. One thing that's a little weird about this book is that it's written as the transcriptions of Alex's iPod recordings, so he's kind of talking to the reader as though he is talking to an alien who has discovered his golden iPod, which is very cute. I'm not a huge fan of first-person narration usually in my stories, but I think it works really well for this book. Alex's voice is so funny and so sweet and so kind, and one of the best things about this book is that the author manages to get every single character their own story. So every character, even though we're only hearing about them from Alex's descriptions, or we can hear them talking in the background of his recordings, they all go through their own journeys. Now this book does deal with some pretty heavy subject matter. This is going to get a little spoilery, so feel free to skip ahead if you would like, but it does cover things like emotional abuse, mental illness. There's a little bit of light alcohol use in this book, but I think it's all handled really well. Cheng understands that kids notice when things are wrong, they notice when these things are happening, and they might not understand what it all means. They might not understand how it all fits together, but we should still be cognizant of children's intelligence and that they know when something is wrong. There is an audiobook available of See You in the Cosmos, and it is kind of like a radio play, so it's acted out. It's not just the book being read to you, but they have different actors for each character. I haven't listened to it yet, but I've heard it's great, so definitely check that out if you like audiobooks. Next we have our young adult novel, and this is Catalyst by Laurie Halse Anderson. Catalyst is about high school senior Kate Malone, and she is obsessed with science and wants to be a chemist. She has applied to MIT for college and only MIT, and her life gets turned upside down when her childhood bully's house burns down and they have to move in together. So the book is really about Kate being forced to grow up by all of these unfortunate circumstances. Anderson has a wonderful voice. I think she has the ability to understand teenagers really well. I remember I read one of her other novels, Speak, when I was a teenager, and I thought it was really good. Definitely check out that book too if you're into young adult fiction. Overall, I think this is a great book, but if you're someone who doesn't like ambiguous endings, you might not like it as much. Also, this book does deal with some really heavy subject matter, so again, spoiler alert. There is character death, there's mentions of abuse and alcohol usage, so definitely tread lightly if you're sensitive to any of those topics. But overall, Catalyst by Laurie Halse Anderson, super good book. Definitely check it out if you love her other novels or if you're just into young adult fiction. Lastly, we have our adult fiction recommendation, and that is Still Alice by Lisa Genova. This book is about Alice Howland, Harvard professor, researcher, and psychologist. She has a loving husband and 3 beautiful children. She's at the peak of her career when she is suddenly diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's disease. Before reading this book, I didn't really know early onset Alzheimer's was a thing. I think, like most people, I assumed the disease only affected people who were elderly, like those who are 70 or older. This book does a great job of portraying the progression of Alzheimer's disease. It is endorsed by the Alzheimer's Association. What this book does well is that it shows us, even though we might not understand Alzheimer's or people with Alzheimer's, that these people are still humans. They have some form of agency at least, and they deserve our utmost respect just like the rest of us. The author of this book, Lisa Genova, does have a PhD in neuroscience from Harvard, so her understanding of the subject really comes through, though at sometimes her writing can get a little bit clinical, especially when she's describing what happens to the brain or even the Harvard environment. But overall, this is a very enjoyable book. Definitely pick it up, even if you don't know anybody with Alzheimer's in your life. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed our video. I'm hoping to do more book reviews based on other galleries throughout the museum, so keep an eye out for those. Again, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!